Well, hello. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, when I asked the guides, what are we doing today? They said, we're going to open with some prayers. And and then they said, open your book, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness, to apparently a random page, but not so random, because they had me open to the chapter 33. It's called By All That Is Holy. And so this auto put us in absolutely the right space for what we're doing. I'm going to open the Akashic Records for this group, and here we go. By the power of divine light within us, come, Holy Spirit, Spirit of light, Spirit of truth. For the highest good of all throughout time, fill my heart with divine love. As I humbly ask permission to open the divine portal to the highest realm of the Akashic Records for this group. Akashic beings of light, guide this group to the deepest truth of our being, releasing any blocks and restrictions to our abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist this group to fully embody our soul's light, to fulfill our soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround this group with the enlightenment and wisdom of our masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct our perspective and actions to those that manifest our divine plans. Akashic beings of light, guide this group to the deepest truth of our being, releasing any blocks and restrictions to our abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist this group to fully embody our soul's light, to fulfill our soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround this group with the enlightenment and wisdom of our masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct this group's perspective and actions to those that manifest our divine plan. Akashic beings of light, guide this group to the deepest truth of our being, releasing any blocks and restrictions to our abundance and highest good. Great Creatress, assist this group to fully embody our soul's light, to fulfill our soul's purposes, and to heal any accumulated karma. Surround this group with the enlightenment and wisdom of our masters, teachers, and loved ones. Clearly direct this group's perspective and actions to those that manifest our divine plans, free of all resistance, judgment, and fear. Free of all resistance, judgment, and fear. Free of all resistance, judgment, and fear. We are now filled with divine love, and the records are open. Greetings and welcome from the Akashic beings of light. We offer you this experiential topic and chapter. Be certain to open your Akashic records before continuing, as your experience of the energy, your own holiness, and our messages will be heightened by all that is holy. This includes all that is, does it not? Is there anything created by the great creatress that is not holy? Is there anything about you that is not holy? Anything about you that is not, that is outside of the great creatress's blessed, creative, healing reach? All that is holy is everywhere. All that is holy is inside of you. All that is holy flows through you at this very moment. You are created by the great creatress. It is by her holy grace that you live, breathe, and have your being. It is by her holy design that you are perfectly suited to serve your soul, so that your soul evolves into an ever-increasing unity with the great creatress. Unity is holy growth, Holy Spirit in action, holy transformation at its best. Becoming conscious of all that is holy. This is an exercise, so close your eyes and get comfortable. Take 7 deep, refreshing breaths. Inhale to the fullest point. Slowly and thoroughly exhale everything in your lungs altogether. You can experience all that is holy in your permanent atom of light, located somewhere within the trunk of your body. Place all of your consciousness inside that very tiny yet powerful, brilliant spark of light within your body. Sense the holy energy within the exuberant, permanent atom of light. Sense the life packed within. It is ready to explode into your complete soul. You might find all that is holy by embodying the light of your soul. You will find all that is holy by embodying the light of your soul. This too was created in holiness by the great Creatress. As you embody your soul's light, you realize it is sustained in holy grace by the great Creatress, the divine of your understanding. You will experience all that is holy in the depths of your breath as you let yourself simply be. No demands. No requirements. No effort. No muscling anything. No forcing. Just breathe and be. All that is holy is within you. It is always there, like an old, old friend. Kind. Patient. Accepting. Yes. You know that holiness, don't you? Sense that holiness in you. It is perfectly alive and well inside of you. All that is holy has you, and you have it. The distinctions between you and holiness are becoming quite blurred. Play with that blurriness. Put your attention where both you and all that is holy reside, in peace, in comfort, in total ease. Rest there. Breathe in that overlap of you and all that is holy. And you find there really is no difference. You belong to one another. Your essence is made of all that is holy. This is the strength of your heartbeat. The constancy of your blood flowing. The depth of your breath. This overlap is the spirit that lives within you and that we are calling your soul. That we are calling the great creatress, that we are calling all that is holy. There simply is no division. All is all. You are in it, you are part of it. Filled with it, surrounded by it, enamored of it, and it is enamored of you. By all that is holy, you are that, and that is you. By all that is holy, created in pure innocence, created divinely. When you die, you transition from being encased in a body to being purely all that is holy. You become non-substance. You exist only as consciousness, soul consciousness. you transition into holy peace. You leave the drama, exit stage left. No bow, no curtain call, no standing ovation. Simply released into peaceful allness. We are here to welcome you. And we bid you adieu for now. All right, let's see what we have here. I've forgot to do a couple of important things, like get my Facebook group page up on here. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm glad to be part of your world. Good morning, Pat Hansen. Good morning, Lisa Davis. Good morning, Aunt Darla. Oh, I'm so lucky to have you here with me. It's holy to be surrounded by people you love, by the masters, teachers, and loved ones who demonstrate their unconditional love for us. It is holy to experience what we experience right here. Good morning, Davina Hansen, too. We got the Hansens in the house, the unrelated soul sisters. So, I'm open to channeling on whatever questions you might have today. The guides say that being peaceful is your birthright. It is something you can do or be and enjoy even while the world outside carries on its chaotic drama. But keep yourself tethered to that permanent atom of light, or embodying your soul's light. Whenever you feel sort of pushed off your center or in shock and awe about the drama going on in the world, even by the wretched travesties that are taking place, remember that you exist as a point of light and consciousness throughout time, whether you are in this body or not. You are a point of consciousness. And some of what the challenge of being alive at this crazy time in life is to be able to return over and over to that point of light, or that embodying your soul's light and consciousness whenever you need it, all day long. There you go. Good. You all just did it really quickly, very nicely. Wonderful. If the guides could teach you nothing other than that. It would be a key to a more pleasant mortal existence, a key to a sanctuary, a place of bliss. A counterpoint and a counterweight to the extreme dramas outside. By all that is holy, and that is you. Holding your holy interior light in your mind. You are that. This is the truth of your substance. This is what powers your physical body. Isn't it nice to know that we are tempered and balanced and stabilized by divine light? The light of our souls. The light within that is inextinguishable, can never be snuffed out. And the idea of using the breath at the beginning is a very centering, very relaxing and very enlivening experience that can be also used no matter what, because fear tends to make us be in our upper shoulders and breathe shallowly. But if we breathe deeply and bring all that light within to bear throughout our full bodies, we are one with the divine. We are linked up with our souls, and we are linked up with the divine. And this is strength. This is power. There you go. And so, we have some people. Lisa says, do you ever feel angry at the unknown, the unknowable? That's vague, I know. I mean angry that the answers and directions not being there when I think I'm ready to act on them. Yeah. Well, you know what? We all get to be angry at God. And the divine doesn't care. The divine welcomes it. Whatever your experience is welcome in the divine. And she doesn't even have to forgive you for what you think is bad behavior or a sin or some kind of lack or malfeasance. Because she created us like this. She created this drama. It's part of how we climb out of it. Yes, I get more angry at the outside world and what I perceive as humans misbehaving. According to my lights. However, I'm thinking of something my mother said when my brother and sister and I were young. And, when we were talking to her once many years ago, we said, well, it seemed like we were always fighting. And my mother said, well, you had to learn how. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a perspective, very kind, to way of her perceiving it, not being upset by it or finding it wrong. We struggle most with the people we're closest to, our family members, our loved ones, our partners, our exes, our children. But I think your question is, how do I act in a situation that seems so unknowable? And I think the part of the answer to that is, when it becomes clear what to do, it will become very, 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 very clear. Just like you really had that switch over last week when you perceived the trauma on a child's face. You understood that it was unacceptable for someone in your close environment to behave and cause that trauma to be an experience of a child. And you understood, again, the trauma that you experienced as a child. And your commitment to making sure that others don't have to go through that is brought to the surface and made plain and clarified. And it may just be having a conversation with someone about your experience, your observations, all I statements, and what you went through as a child, and how difficult it has been for you to heal and to come full circle back to that innocence and that wholeness. Come full circle back into the innate holiness within you, despite the traumas that you went through in your childhood and even after that. And it's angering and frustrating, mostly because that's the experience of powerlessness, or not being in this clear about what the timing is. Like, if somebody could just send you a memo saying, next week it'll be all right, you can say this, or the energy will be different. Find that quiet place within you and strengthen that quiet place, so that when the moment comes to speak directly to the people involved, you feel centered in that light and in your soul and connected to the divine who has all power. This is one of the biggest things in life for me, is remembering that I'm not the powerful being. The divine is the powerful being. I might be an agent of the divine, a representative, I might be an example of certain things. And that's as it should be. And some people in our lives are representatives of what we would rather not be. Not that! If you're going to make me that, I'm going to be unholy, hellish. But to be uncomfortable, as we know, it goes with the territory of being alive. But you can still be just who you are. You can be who you are and let this experience happen. Life doesn't have to be perfect. And it's navigating these imperfections with acceptance and allowance and keeping the portal open to the divine so that we can be guided and directed. It might be guided and directed through a breath or through a step or a change in the patterning. You know, stepping out of the old pattern and finding our first weak steps, uncertain steps into a new pattern. And then not being attached to that newness, but being willing to just be there for however long it's there. And when that too becomes something that needs to be let go of, we let go of it, because that's like time. We can't hold on to that perfect moment and wish to recreate it and over and over again. We have to just keep moving into the next moment and allowing and accepting whatever is there to be there. Keep reaching out to the child, to the innocent. And in your heart, you know you are connected with this child, this innocent, and that you make a difference in this child's world. It's true. You do. All right, let's see what else we have. Davina says, I heard we will have a great earth rift in the next few months. Do your guides see anything in this? Well, yes. This kind of goes along with the other Hanson's questions of late, about the continuation of major cataclysmic earth events, weather, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, all of that. But I do believe that there is a sorting out, that Mother Earth is actually birthing herself into more than one. And at first I thought it was two, and just now the guides were saying, well, that would be duality. It'd be like, oh, the good people, according to my likes, go into this earth, and the bad people, according to my understanding, go to that earth. That's just another version of heaven and hell. But let us think from a greater standpoint. The earth is dividing into designated environments that support those who wish to evolve at a certain rate and those who wish to evolve in other direction at a certain rate. None of which are judged as good or bad or better or worse. It is just an accommodation of consciousness. Now, my little human mind wants to say, well, I'm going to the pretty earth where everybody respects the earth and we love one another and we all eat vegetables. Or we are breatharians or something and we don't have to kill. I don't know that that's the earth I'll get. I don't know that my mind is quite fertile ground for that yet. But I think that my being is becoming ready. And I think that many people's being is becoming ready to be that in the best way possible. Yes, and there's going to be shifts in the money. There's going to be a national heartbreak not in a few months. I forget whether that was going to be March or April. The national heartbreak. I haven't gotten a clear idea of what it is. And yes, you know, wars expected maybe in late summer, early September, October, for sure. War, and we will have to really be non-violent in our thinking, because remember, what we are creating in our insides is being reflected outside. And if we are creating us against them, we're going to just feed the opposition, as it were. But if we are creating an environment of peace and accommodation, and both and non-duality, so that we're not stuck in this either or paradigm, or the good versus the bad paradigm. We're expanding into other paradigms. Then we are allowing these new spaces and these new energies and these new consciousnesses to be birthed and to take form outside of us. It's a fairly long process. And you know, since people can choose to be reincarnated at any time, some people choose to be reincarnated, say, in the 1850s, if that's where they're going to get the most growth opportunities, or the most evolution opportunities, or the most opportunities to contribute, to help humanity's evolution, and souls in bodies evolution. You know, so some people may be choosing to hop off now and do it's a very fast rebuild and reworking of their soul's consciousness, and choosing a new body and a new experience in whatever part of timeline. It could be somewhere in the future, it could be somewhere in the present, could be somewhere in the past. It doesn't matter what time it is. All choices exist at all times, and perhaps choosing to be reincarnated in a timeline in the quote past will give us greater foundational building blocks to evolve from in our current timeline. So there's some funny things. Thank you. Teresa, I think my connection has been a little bit volatile. It seems more steady on my computer, but on my phone, where I do the lives, the connection is a little unstable, and I don't know what to do about that. This is part of the territory right here, out here in the woods. And you know, this video will go up on my YouTube channel, and so you can do that guided meditation that we opened, by all that is holy. You can do that one. You can follow along with it there. I know you don't necessarily pay for YouTube or some kind of version of YouTube, so it's difficult for you to have that. Let me know. I'll send it to you. I'll send you a copy. Thank you also, Teresa, for enjoying my lilies. I love the smell of them, and I love this new version that they're coming out with, called rose lilies, that have a lot more petals. I would say they're not quite as fragrant. They don't have the potency that the old school ones do. So Marie said, I had a cousin go missing 5 years ago. I always wonder what happened. Any sense of what could have happened to help me with closure? Can I have the cousin's name, please? My sense is, I'm going to refresh my page, so if you put the cousin's name in there, I'll be sure to get it. But was your cousin traveling? Was he, thanks for putting his name up there. Was his last name Lane also? Peter Lane? Was he traveling and then he disappeared on a travel adventure? Because I'm sensing that he kind of was kidnapped for money, for a passport, for someone to try and assume an identity, a different identity so they could maintain their own freedom, and somewhere in the Middle East. And let's see, I'm getting chills. What happened to you? Are you still alive? Yeah, he's still alive, but he had to start his life anew in this different country without all the kind of American supports and ways of being, and he kind of thought, well, if this is happening, I might as well make the most of it. His last name is Lucy. Okay, great, Peter Lucy. He's definitely alive. His soul is definitely with him. And his soul scheduled this event so that there could be a big change midway through his life. He was getting bored, and that was one reason why he was traveling, was to kind of get a new perspective, enlarge his perspective, to change his point of view. And his soul put him in a situation where he would just have to become a member of that social situation. But also, he kind of got to know they're calling it the underworld, but it's sort of the behind-the-scenes black market, doing things in that alternative fashion, almost like you see in the spy movies, of being able to buy a new passport, a new identity, do different things, and earn your way into a different kind of society and a different culture. And was he computer? It feels like he has a lot of technology expertise, and he used that expertise to make himself useful and make himself valuable, and get out of being killed in this new environment and by his captors, and And it's not as if he was, what do they call it when somebody joins terrorism? They're becoming implicated in the terrorist culture. But he was willing to be inculcated in a different point of view, and also finding a different way to put his skills to work for a different group, and also to save his bacon. And he just hasn't found the full reason for rejoining the family back here in the States. Like, there just hasn't been a good enough justification for him to do that, so he's not really interested. And that's why he hasn't really put out any feelers. He does kind of follow objectively and kind of on the dark web the family members, like on social media, and a little bit just to kind of stay abreast of some of the things that are happening. You want to know, does his wife know? Oh, he was a lawyer. Oh, well, there's a mind, that can be another way of putting yourself to use. He came up against the limits of the law, as we all have through this last couple rounds of our current administration and its first form and the form it's becoming now. And the dependency upon the law, and the law as being like the last word, and if you can fight it through legal means, you have the power. And the law has been taken advantage of and bastardized. It became disillusioning to him. And I think his wife was aware of the disillusionment as it was being formed, but that was one of the reasons for his travel and for his acceptance of disappearance as an option to change your life and to start to think outside the box and give up the props that the law gave him in an earlier part of his life, and the belief system that's like, if we can fight this legally, and the good will win, or reason will dominate, or something like that. The law has lost its fundamental basis in reasonableness and good for all. It's become a tool of the wealthy and something that can be manipulated. And to have that for him, which was a loss of innocence and a loss of the belief systems that were his underpinnings, his outpost that gave him his sense of who he was and his purpose in life, to see it be misused in this way sent him on a journey looking for what was. Where was the permanence? Where is the permanence in life? Or is it literally a constant flow of impermanence? And I think the latter is the answer, a constant flow of impermanence. And I think that's part of where a lot of consciousness is going at this time in humanity's evolution, at least in the Western world. I think his wife knew. When you ask, does his wife know? I get the sense that you suspect she does. So I'm thinking there was perhaps some inkling beforehand that he might have some kind of experience like this. He might go through a major transformation inside. I believe that he put his affairs in order, legally, of course, so as to not leave his wife and children bereft or without money and a way forward. As a soul, his wife agreed to be in a partnership that would have this as part of its texture and variety and uniqueness. And it comes from the two of them feeling that a lot of their connection was about, it was rooted in, we support each other's full freedom of consciousness and expression as long as no harm is done. Now, not knowing can feel harmful. It can feel like a personal FU, right? But I think his wife kind of knew better and understood that at some point there was going to be some form, the change in form of their relationship. And so it is. Very interesting question. But I do see him as being alive, and I do see him as traveling around Mideast. I'm seeing Turkey, Afghanistan, I think must be dark-haired or was dark-haired. Maybe he's more gray-haired now. And his coloring would fit in with skin colors that are darker and more olive complected, or even a darkness around the eyes, and heavy bearded, heavy eyebrows, that kind of genealogy. So he does fit. So he can, from a looks point of view, he can blend in. He's had to really, he says language is my weakness, is my weak point. He has trouble with accents and getting the language right, and being the perfectionist and for him, he has to get it just so, and get the nuances of language, which is the hardest part of learning a new language, is getting the nuances and slang. These have been some of the most difficult pieces of that journey. So it's very interesting. He's glad he went missing at the time when he did, because he's not embroiled in the United States scene, as it were, and his point of view is a lot more global, or it's really significantly enlarged, and not so American centered and blindered, like our blinder United States, where we think everything should be seen from the American point of view, the United Statesian point of view. I almost declined to call the America, because America is a continent, and we are the United States of America, and we don't have the whole continent. he has been able to teach these people in this other cultures some of the nuances of being a United Statesian, and help provide them with passports and some ways of going in and out of the United States, mostly to carry money back and forth. So I don't think that they're doing anything illicit like drugs or weapons. It's more about staying linked up with family members and keeping the intercultural bridges alive is what my guides are saying. Very interesting. Very interesting, Murray. I hope that's somewhat helpful. Certainly was a lot. You never know where the question is going to go, and you know how one question can lead to so much information, and hopefully that's useful to everybody. So, you know, since I'm not doing the 7:30 guided meditations anymore, but I am doing these live events, I'm ready for another question. Let's keep going. The energy is flowing very nicely from all that is holy in chapter 33, for those of you who have my book. And if you don't have my book, get a hold of me, anniechannels.com or anniechannels@gmail.com, and let me know you want to purchase a book. If you want to purchase the companion journal also, which is like the workbook, because almost every chapter, except for a few, like chapter 33, there are interactive questions for you to write on with your records open, because your perspective is different. You learn differently. Your things will shift. In the Akashic Records, it's energy first, information second. And so following where the energy leads you opens up consciousness and perception at a great level, and you can make some really big strides with your Akashic Records open. And very useful. And when you write about it, it's almost as if you are not just codifying your experiences, but really teaching yourself what you learned. Teaching yourself what you learned. And since my phone is having trouble staying connected, what I'll do after we're done here today is I will post the recording of this that is I'm doing on Zoom. I'll put it up on the Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness page, so that the whole thing will be present and available for everyone's use, and like that. I'm glad, Marie, that was useful. I'm really he's kind of an extraordinary person. Is his wife fairly enlightened, or does she seem like she's does she seem a little bit like she's in cahoots with it, or at least on a very deep private level? I get the feeling that she's not unaware, but I don't think there's been a lot of contact, you know. I think it's been pretty private. But if you'd like to buy, she's very enlightened. Okay, all right. Wow. Oh, and you know what? Your cousin Peter felt like he needed to do some inner work in order to catch up with her, his wife. She was the leader. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Oh. I love channeling. I love doing readings for people. It is so fulfilling, and it's so enlightening and educational to see people at soul level. It's so helpful for me to see people at a different level, and then I have to then upgrade my experience of myself and give myself the same breaks of non-judgmentalness, or not boxing myself in with my own personal standards or work ethic or productivity, or stepping out of the kind of commercial nature of what is success in this world, and really just moving this whole thing about being a channel and Akashic Records specialist and author, bringing all that back into a moment-to-moment experience based in the principles of the divine is in everyone and everywhere, and loves equally, and never judges, because she created this. Why would she judge a creation? Even if it comes out to what my thinking would be monstrous. I can't imagine being the soul that decided to be some of the people in our administration, that the concepts that are being demonstrated as acceptable are being exhibited this way. I can't imagine having a soul that could entertain that, but I do understand that there are souls that have that experience, that are demonstrating that this is one option, one way to be. And I believe that they are being utilized by the divine for the higher good. Maria, it all makes sense now. Oh, I'm so glad. Wow. See? One little question. Like I do that one question reading for only $28. One question led to all that information. That's the power of a question. Living in the question is really useful. And don't run from the questions that you might have. Good morning, Suzanne. How nice. Suzanne would like an insight about this next year ahead for you. Well, hang in there, because my guides about 6 or 8 weeks ago did a whole channeling on this page, this group page, about what's expected for next year. And then as I took the transcripts and I've been enhancing them and channeling more information into them and writing about it, they had me draw some cards from the Voyager deck by James Wanless. They're all collage, really artistic, symbolic collages, and beautiful colors and symbols. And then they also had me pull one of the Reconnecting Soul 142 DNA activation cards with this, and add those in as information and expanding on the topics. It's an interesting question, but they're saying for this month, it's mud, and I feel like I've been surfacing out of mud and being drop back into mud. And it's been very hard to continue on a particular course of action. I'm going to get this done. Like, I haven't been able to get through all the months of the year in that long set of predictions for, it was month by month for the entire year except for December. They say we have to live through March until we can have the consciousness to and be able to hold whatever it is in December. But for us all, there are many, many challenges this year. And at the same time, because it's a fire horse year, we are all really galloping ahead. And not getting stuck or mired in the old ways of doing business, the old ways of doing feelings, the old ways of progressing or being with ourselves. The old ways are not going to hold for this year. And many, as you can see, so many major structures are breaking down. They also had me pull 2 cards that for the goddesses that are in charge of this year. And one was the goddess Athena and the theme of justice. So we're having to really reevaluate how we experience justice. And what do we believe is justice? Is it an eye for an eye? Is it a tooth for a tooth? Or is it forgiveness? Or is it standing up and bringing new concepts in that allow for a greater harmony and greater change and a broader perspective? And in my world, the guides are always moving me out of, don't get stuck between either or, right, wrong, good versus bad. Don't get stuck in duality. Expand to include and look for, okay, this and what else are options. Don't get, blinded and limited by the duality of 2 choices, which are opposites, where there's no fun place to live. And so keep looking for what's bigger, what's next, what's another option, and then look for another option, and then look for another option. See how many you can get. And, in your life, Suzanne, you've had to be really flexible. You've really had to be flexible. And so this is just a lot more of that. It'll be more precise. I love how you stuck with your job. I think that's really amazing. I think that's going to continue. I think that's bringing out some really terrific qualities in you. And I think that's going to continue. The tarot card from the Voyager deck for January is creativity. So even if we feel like we're swimming in mud and can't see for any distance, there is creativity. We evolved out of the primordial mud, so it can happen. My internet is freezing up periodically, but fear not, I'm going to put up the video on this Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness group page, because I'm recording at the same time on Zoom, so that there is a record of it that goes up on my YouTube channel. But since we're having such trouble with the connectivity today, I'll just put that up on the group page just to make it right. Let me just look and see for you. They're bringing up the month of June, which is going to be, they're saying it's elaborate. It's like as if you have crocheted lace, or how they used to do tatting to create lace with 20 or 30 different spools of threads and create different extraordinary shapes and diversity in making lace. The month of June is going to be a lot like that. There's going to be things that come together in the month of June that will be extraordinary for you and very helpful, and a long time coming. So there you will be harvesting the fruit of your efforts and staying true to yourself and staying true to your divine calling, and really, like, I know it's felt like you've just barely been able to keep your head above water, but you've done really good service with your dad. You've done really good service with your job. You do a lot of good service because of what the opportunities that you're bringing forth through your job for others, and really your mind is stabilizing. It's really good, and your concentration's getting better, and that in itself is a huge healing. Not quite so, fly by night and reactivate or reactionary, like that. She says, yes, thank you. Yes. Your evolution month. Yeah. I mean, you'll really be able to see, like, for real, like, oh, all that fishing in the dark and hopefully doing it the right way and guessing and just going forward in blind faith, that's going to be like, you'll be able to look around and go, oh, it really is paying off. And that's as it should be. Let's see. Oh, well, the guides are always noticing, and the divine's in charge, and the divine's in charge of time, timing, and the details, and I have this whole big set of cards that I've been working on and creating, like a set of spiritual flashcards. And the idea is that you pick a card and it's got a front and a back message, and you spend a week on this card studying the message on the front and on the back, and bring it into your meditations and have it be like a theme for the week. Give your mind something to wrap itself around and to produce, and it's all about spiritual principles and concepts. And I'm just like in this one for today. Without the divine, I am nothing. With the divine, all powers of harmony unite in me to express themselves. And the backside would be, the divine performs the work I am given to do. So we're just being agents of the divine, and we put ourselves in service of the divine and let the divine take over from there and steer us from there. And it does take an enormous amount of blind faith and just having things work out the way they do. And as your life is a huge demonstration, Suzanne, of how things work out at the 11th hour. Something happens to take care of a problem, to be a solution, to fulfill a need that you have, and it's all divinely ordered, and it's all proving to you, yes, the divine cares. Yes, the divine loves you with unconditional love. Yes, the divine has been listening. Yes, the divine knows what's going on with you. And, you get to be an example of that in this world. And keep, counting your blessings. Be the state of gratitude, because that is what is just magnetic to more of what you've received already. It just widens the receiving area, from a little bit of gratitude to way out here, and really being it. And it's really, really coming true. So let's see. Living on in faith, not for the weak. Oh God, no, it's not. New York new T-shirt ideas. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Bumper stickers. Living in faith. It's not for the weak. You're absolutely correct. I experienced that myself. And, staying out of disillusionment and staying out of loss of faith, or, thinking, how am I going to muscle that into place? And then realizing, oh, I'm not doing this. The divine is doing this. I just have to follow on. I just have to get myself in alignment with this. I just have to unite with the divine and harmonize with that and align with that, the divine's will for me, and things do work out. Yeah. Yeah. Full circle. Oh, Ben. Yep. Yep. And, the circle's very big. And it comes full circle. Yes. Definitely. Well, my darlings, we've been at this for an hour 22. I think it's time to say that's enough. And because we opened the records, I'm going to close the records now with the closing prayer. Thanking the great Creatress and her Holy Spirit for love, protection, and healing received this day. Thanking the Akashic beings of light for guidance. Thanking the masters, teachers, and loved ones for wisdom and direction. The divine portal and the Akashic records are now closed. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you all for questions. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all for being in my world. I love you, and I hope you have a marvelous day. And I thank you all on YouTube and Facebook group page, Bringing Forth Soul Consciousness. Thank you for donating to me. Sending me tips. It's very, very welcome, and frankly a little bit needed right now. All right, thank you.